Yo, salute to the nation. What is up, everyone? We are back. At least half of us are back. All right. Ready to go ahead and kick this thing off. Another episode of Raiders Unfiltered. I got my guy, Jeff, in the building.
What's up?
I think without further ado, let's go ahead and hit it.
Inside Allegiant Stadium for the first time this year. Touchdown Raiders! Touchdown Raiders! Touchdown! From behind! Ball down! Big man running! Raiders!
Salute to everyone already here. Appreciate everyone pulling up with us on this Monday afternoon, evening, depending where you're at. If you're on the East Coast, like you are with like Jeff is, it's good evening. If you're on the West Coast or Southwest, it's good afternoon. So, but appreciate everyone pulling up for another episode of Raiders Unfiltered. I am your host. I'm Jay Raider. I got my guy in the building. I got Jeff in the building. I had to do it. It's been too long, man. So we had to get one in for sure.
Been a while.
Been a while. You know, one half of the Reddit connections is here. We're gonna try to get everybody all together once again pretty soon. So hopefully, at least we might do a show on Wednesday. We'll see what happens. We'll talk about that towards the end of the show. But appreciate everyone pulling up with us to go ahead and chop it up with some more Raider football talk. Really quick before we go any further, obviously we got to go ahead and give some love to our peoples in the building, to the chat, as always, bringing fire conversations as always, and always showing some love and support. Really quick shout out to our guy Robert Penga in the building. He is present and accounted for. Salute, brother. Thanks for pulling up. Our guy Rorschach Raider. What to do, brother? Thanks for pulling up, my guy. Let's see here. Shout out to Rosetown. What to do, brother? Thanks for pulling up, my guy. Rock in the building. Salute, brother. Thanks for pulling up. Bloody Raider in the building. Thanks for the comment. Thank you, brother, for pulling up and showing support. Appreciate you, my guy. Marcus Banks in the building. What to do? Salute
Number
to
one
you,
Tennessee
brother.
Titans fan. What's up, Marcus?
There you go. Let's see who else is here. My guy SoCal Sal in the building. What to do, brother? Thanks for pulling up. Yes, sir. Our guy L11 in the building. Salute to you, brother. Thanks for pulling up, my guy. My guy, God Family Raiders in the building. Salute to you. Thanks for pulling up, my guy. One of my members here. And if you want to be a member, just like God Family Raiders, make sure you guys go ahead and click that link up top. I have mine pinned up in the chat. I think you guys can go ahead and click on the description for Jeff to go ahead and become a member. It does really help to go ahead and keep the lights on both channels for sure. Let's see here. Who else is in the building? My guy Jason Downs as well. Thanks for pulling up, my guy. Appreciate you.
What's up, Jason?
Yes. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kick this thing off. I think the biggest news coming out of today's been kind of a busy day for the Raiders and Raider news, but possible June 1st pickups. And now this thing has really starting to take shape, starting to take momentum. As of today, announced by, I believe it was Tom Telesco, Jaire Alexander is being released by the Packers. So Packers are parting ways with him. They are no longer going to go ahead and keep him. Let me go ahead and pull that. It's Rappaport with that breaking news. Here you go. So we got Ian Rappaport. So Packers are parting ways with cornerback Jaire Alexander as of today. They didn't want him to be a part of the mini camp that's coming up for the Packers. So it was best mutual interest for both parties to go ahead and cut ties. The other one as well. We have give me a second here. We got Germaine Pratt also being released by the Bengals by today as well. So there are some interesting people being released as of right now. Possible pickups for the Raiders. Germaine Pratt, linebacker, coverage linebacker. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. This one is broken by Tom Telesco. I got my insiders mixed up there, but Tom Telesco breaking the news with Germaine Pratt being released by the Bengals. So got these two guys now being available. What are our thoughts? Obviously, we know that we do need a coverage linebacker, right? We do need to go ahead and really upgrade our cornerback situation at the moment. Doesn't look the best, right? There's some areas of improvement for, but how do we feel? What are we thinking? Obviously, Jaire Alexander, a little bit different situation from the Germaine Pratt release. Going into Alexander, the main thing here why he's being released by the Packers, his injury history. The last, I think, probably like 4 or 5 seasons, he's been injured. Really, honestly, since like 2017, this guy's been struggling through injuries. I think only played like a few games last season before going out with the shoulder injury and the knee injury. Same thing the year before that. I think only played like 13 games or something like that.
He's missed a lot of games.
Yeah, with the groin injury. And a shoulder injury as well. So a lot of injuries for Jaire Alexander, though he is considered one of probably a top 10 corner, but that's when he's healthy. When he's not healthy, he's obviously not there. He's on the sidelines. He's rehabbing. So, interesting to see that he's available. The question is, should the Raiders go ahead and make a play for him? What are your thoughts, Jeff, on that?
I mean, I know he's talented. I'm still a little leery on him. Obviously the other one everybody's kicking around still is Ramsey. So you got to look at you can't get both. It's going to be one or the other. I would put more stock in getting Ramsey over Jaire. And like you said, he missed a lot of games. 2021, he only played in 4 games, started and played in 4. 2023 and 2024, he was started 7, played 7. So he missed more than half the season the last 2 seasons. So his on-field, again, like they always say, your best ability is availability. And technically, really, he hasn't been available that much, for the years that he's been in the league.
Right.
I'm not sold on him. Like I said, I know he's talented. The kid's good. He's a former first-round pick. He didn't get there just because he's a good-looking kid or something. He got there because of talent. Yeah. If I had to pick between the two, I'd rather put my stock in my money in getting somebody like Ramsey. The good thing is, even if we throw Pratt in there, the linebacker, right? Pratt, did I say his name right?
Yeah.
You throw him in there. They're all about the same age, 28, 29, and 30. So it's not like they're in their mid, early 30s. They're all fairly still in the prime, basically, you could say, or still in serviceable age. So age isn't an issue. But I would go for Ramsey over Alexander. That injury scares me, and it's proven that it's cost him time since he had the initial injury. So I'm not sold on him. I'm not.
Yeah. No, I agree.
They moved on him for a reason.
They moved on him for that reason. I mean, obviously, he has a pretty high contract. I think he was scheduled to make about 17, 18 mil this year, right? So I'm willing to do this if and I've said this on some shows that I've popped on the chat and even on the Raiders media day. If I'm gonna go ahead and take a flyer on Alexander, I'm probably doing like a 1 year, and I'm probably looking anywhere from maybe 12 to about 15 mil, and that's gonna be under what his market value, which his market value is about anywhere from about 17 to 20, right? And guaranteeing him about 8 to 10, right? And that's kind of the incentive of the if he's healthy, right? That you could play it that way, like, hey, if you stay healthy, obviously you get the full 15 or 12, 15, whatever you come up with, but you got to kind of curve that a little bit, right? If that's the way you're going to pursue. Obviously, we do need to beef up a little bit on that corner situation. Now this is the thing, because I want to see if it's viable for him possibly to go ahead and maybe play that slot position, but it's been so long he's done that. I mean, pretty sure he can manage it, but to would he be effective? Probably not. His position really is outside. So that really doesn't help the current situation is of us really looking for that slot corner, right? But that would probably give us our CB1 for sure.
Yeah.
Right? I've not be competitive with Porter for that CB1 position. Again, this is all dependent whether he stays healthy, and how effective would he be.
Right? That's a huge question too.
That's
we can't afford to stop worrying about it. We've done good so far bringing guys on that aren't injury prone. Wilkins got hurt while he was playing for us. So that's different. But when we haven't brought in guys that are questionable with the injuries, so why are we going to start now?
Right.
I know somebody in the chat asked what's the tackle amount difference. I've got the numbers up. I don't know if you do.
I looked at it earlier.
Yeah, in 7 seasons, Alexander has 241. In 10 seasons, Ramsey's got 432 solos. Those are just the solos. So I mean, it is a big difference, and it's only a 3-year difference between the two.
Right.
But I mean, I still would go for Ramsey over him. I would put more emphasis on getting Ramsey in. See, and it's not that they want to let Ramsey go because he's not playing good. It's the fact that they're in salary cap problems, and they got to do something. That's going to cost us more because we're going to have to trade for him, unless they cut him. Whereas Alexander's a free agent, we can just, once he clears waivers, we can go for him,
Right, for sure. And then speaking of Jalen, this is the thing. Jalen and Dolphins are currently working on a trade. As of right now, he's not scheduled to go ahead and attend minicamp. Their minicamp approaching. He's going to go ahead and kind of stay away and not really focus too much or draw too much attention on the current situation. Obviously, Tyreek Hill and all that's currently going on with them. And there are situations, the Dolphins situation in this offseason has been kind of terrible. But for one thing for sure is that it looks like Ramsey's not going back to the Dolphins. So it's either going to be find a suitor for a trade or they're going to cut him. I don't think it's going to be that cut's going to come anytime soon. I think they're going to wait as long as possible to try to find a trade partner. And if they can't, then obviously they're going to go ahead and part ways because they're right now they're in cap hell, so they need to go ahead and save some cap space. They can't afford to go ahead and really keep them on, and especially with their whole offseason and kind of shamble. And they're in panic mode right now. It doesn't look like something that's kind of viable to them. So because we are talking about a lot about Jalen Ramsey, I've been talking about him the last few weeks. Right. And what would a kind of trade look like? What would a deal kind of look like? I've said I probably wouldn't go any higher than the 5th round pick. Realistic, probably our 6th round pick. If we do go ahead and trade capital, and we're looking anywhere, if we can get him on a team friendly deal, probably anywhere between 15 and 17 mil will be around that mark. And that's something that most likely possibly could happen because of his wanting to be a Raider for such a long time. He wanted to be drafted by us. The cars never, lined up. The stars never lined up to make that happen. I think like on 2 occasions. So I think the third time could possibly be the charm. I think probably this has a higher chance of probability of actually happening. So
which means he could go with a team friendly deal if that's the case. If he wants to be here that bad, I mean, plus I'm sure he sees what we're growing here.
Right.
I'm sure he sees the big picture. He's not a dummy, and the Dolphins probably told him to stay away because it's the only way they're going to get value for him is if he doesn't go out there and get hurt at minicamp. Because, I mean, guys can get hurt just running basic shit,
Right.
Trips over a bag, next thing you know, there goes his ankle, and now, bad ankle injuries, high sprain, shit like that. They can't take a chance to lose any, draft equity. They want to get as much as they can for him,
Right, especially if he's on his way out. It doesn't make sense for him to really be around the other guys and what they're trying to go ahead and build over there on this season coming up, especially if he's not going to be a part of it, right? So, yeah, it makes sense for them to kind of stay away from that. Really quick, let me go ahead and go to the chat. Shout out to my guy, Rorschach Raider. We should not trade for Ramsey. Maybe 3 years ago. He's not worth the draft capital and the contract, in my opinion. Okay.
Yeah, I disagree, but
so this is a hefty price. We do have the draft capital for it. And this is the upside for it. It instantly boosts your defense. It does. There's no lag or anything like that. There's no waiting time. There's no curve or whatever learning curve that really you have to kind of wait on or progression. It's instant. You plug him in. Obviously he has to learn the plays and whatnot, but that's going to be our CB1. That's going to be our CB1. So there's a lot of advantages. There's a lot of advantages, but you got to pay the piper. That's the thing. It comes with a big expense. It's a big item ticket. But if you sign him for maybe a 2-year deal with the option of a third, then it's worth it, right? And
do that.
There's been talks of possibly also, maybe later down the line shifting him over to safety and having him kind of be in that position down the line. Now, if we're thinking what we're all thinking in 26 and 27, we're playoff bound or a perennial contender. We're really going to be pushing for a Super Bowl run. That's really where he would really come in handy. So if you get him now, get him on the cheap deal, 2-year deal with the option of a third, it could definitely benefit us in the long run if you kind of put it that way. So yeah. Shout out to our guy Ardell. He was said that he wants our defense to be physical and nasty. Shout out to our guy Ardell.
I think bringing him in, though, it would give flexibility. That's the other thing. It would allow you to do things that you're not going to be able to do right now. With the current players on this roster, you bring him in now. You've got a little bit more flexibility, and you can play with some certain things. You bring a guy in with that kind of talent and that experience, that is a whole new dimension.
Yeah,
because you're bringing in a player that we don't have that caliber player right now. You don't. Who is there anybody on our team right now that you could say is as good as Ramsey? Absolutely not.
No.
And I'm not a big, secondary guy where I know these guys really well and their tendencies, but I can tell you just from experience of, seeing cornerbacks in this league that we don't have anybody at Ramsey's talent on this team right now. Absolutely not. So that's an upgrade right there. Granted, Alexander would probably be an upgrade too, but man, again, that injury.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm taking a detour on that one.
It could be, and it's just not one injury. It could be, it's different things. I think I saw something where he had, I don't know, like 13, 14 injuries over his career or something like that. It's been crazy. So, it's not just one thing. That could be like a knee. It could be shoulder. It could be whatever. He could re-aggravate something, and he's out half of the season, or majority of the season, or he's out 5 games. I mean, at this point, where we're trying to build on. Every game counts. So not having him here would be kind of a detriment. And we're going to kind of be looking back at a kind of Nate Hobbs situation where we're paying this guy, maybe not top shelf, not premier corner money because of his injuries, but still we're still paying him a pretty good amount for him really not to play. Right. And we just got away from that. I don't know necessarily the Raiders want to go ahead and revisit that for sure. Rock says we have to pay sticker price for Jaire or he'll go elsewhere. I think if the Raiders, Spytek and Kara are really going to entertain him, I doubt they're going to go ahead and try to pay sticker price for him. Or if so, they'll make it in a way where it's, a short-term deal. They might give him the sticker price, but the guaranteed is going to be way less. It's going to be either half or just under half, somewhere around that realm. They won't give him a full guarantee on that, for sure. No way. Doesn't make sense. But let's go ahead and kind of shift back to Germaine Pratt, because this guy, I honestly think this might be more of the realistic acquisition that might happen. So as we all know, I've said it, you've said it. The question and kind of what the worry that most of Raider Nation has is that linebacker room, especially coverage linebacker. There's some questions as far as how effective could Delvin White be? Would Amari Gainer really step up? Right? E-Rob that's not really his forte. He's more of a run blocker. He's a run stopper. That's his bread and butter. So he's not really the coverage linebacker. Germaine Pratt is that coverage linebacker, and his situation was more of a contract dispute than it was his health. I think he had a small injury last year. I think he played majority of the games, but with him, it's more of a contract dispute. Just looking at his numbers, I mean, the guy had about 80 tackles last year, 2 interceptions. So he has the measurables. Career wise, he had about like almost 350 tackles. He had like 7 interceptions. In his career. So, could he be that coverage linebacker? I think so. It could be, at least he could be the guy for right now, and kind of see what everybody else, or maybe somebody becomes available next year. But this would definitely strengthen that linebacker room. What's your take on it, Jeff?
I was just looking at his numbers over here real quick. So 6 seasons. I mean, tackles for combos, assists and solos, 616 tackles. So that's an average of 100 a season. That's pretty damn good, I think. For a linebacker, I like it if we could grab him. Especially if we can get him and Ramsey, because they both bring something to the table that we don't have right now. We lack playoff experience players too, guys that have been there, done that type of stuff. That adds another dimension to these veteran players. Ramsey's been to the playoffs, he's been to the Super Bowl and won it. Who on our roster has been to a Super Bowl and won one right now? Nobody. Absolutely nobody.
Except for Pete. Except for Pete.
Exactly. And it's only the coach only. Yeah. So we don't have that experience that you need when you get to that stage of the season. So that in itself is an experience. No, that's right. Roberts was with Tampa.
Roberts.
You're right. Thanks, Matt. But still, this adds 2 more players to that pool. So I wouldn't mind it. I mean, we all know that we're still weak at linebacker. We don't have depth. So I'm still. I would go for it too. It all depends on what was his most recent contract.
So what I looked it up, but what it is that by the Bengals releasing him, they save about almost $5.5 million on cap space. So I think he had about $7 million coming to him this year, but I don't think it was guaranteed. So that was kind of the negotiation. So we're looking probably around a market value anywhere between like 6 and like 9. Anywhere in between.
And I think probably part of the reason they let him go too is they got to do something with Hendricks. They got to come up with money to cover for him if they want to re-sign him and restructure his contract. So they got to cut ties somewhere with somebody to make up some cap space. He might have been a cap victim. Yeah, I forgot Kappa too. All right, so I was wrong. We did have 2 guys at least. But still, add more to it, the better.
Right, exactly. I think with Cincinnati, because they went out and got a couple of linebackers. I think they went out and got out Demetrius Knight, he's really, really good. I think he was out of South Carolina. And I forgot who else they went out and got, but they're kind of going towards that younger route. So if that's kind of the situation, he's probably like, where do I fit in the scheme of this, right? So that's probably where a lot of that stems. So, unfortunately, they weren't able to reach a deal, so they're letting him go. And this might be something where we can go ahead and pick him up. And he's worth where anywhere where we pay $7-8 million on the higher end. I think is worth it to bring in somebody of his type of caliber, who's solid, who hasn't really had many injuries, that can be that coverage linebacker for us, because we don't know about Devin White, right? We brought him back. He hasn't worked out in a couple teams, right? But now he's here, so we're hoping good things from him. But I really haven't heard anything out of him from OTAs. It's really been Landon Roberts. Amari Gainer, same thing. We know he's been doing some, off-season work. So we expect good things coming out of him. But again, it's still yet to be determined on how he's really going to go ahead and play out, right? So these are all just like, all these scenarios are what ifs, right? What if? So it's an unproven. We don't know yet. But just kind of to cover our losses, Germaine Pratt might be the safe bet to come in and bring in and just kind of strengthen that room, because we really haven't seen any triggers being pulled by the new regime, right? So I'll definitely keep a lookout on that for sure. But let me go ahead and go back to the chat really quick. Let's see here.
When you get to it, can you bring up the one from Ardell? I don't remember that.
Which the one they said you heard?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I might know which one he's talking about. Ardell, which one were you referring to on that? Was that the one when I was on with Farrow and in Sevilla?
That was a long time ago. That was like back in like January.
Yesterday. Oh no. Was that last night? No, I wasn't on last night. Yesterday was Sunday, right? No, I didn't go on last night.
Sunday.
Might have been.
Well, you were on in the morning.
Saturday night.
You were on.
Yeah, but I didn't go on it. I didn't go on. Yeah, but we were just doing. That was a quiz game.
Yeah, it was a quiz game.
Saturday night I was on with Chris. It had to be that one. Then it had to be Twan and crap. What the hell's the kid's name? Oh my god, I can't think of his name now. Yeah. Super negative. He was so negative.
2 younger dudes and Chris. So yeah, I think it was.
So it had to be Saturday night. Yeah, Twan was one of them. Twan's been around for a while. I've done a few shows with Twan.
Up for Review was the other one.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. I tapped in. I was watching and I was just doing some content, and I was just like watching you guys.
He called me off guard with his comments. That's why.
Yeah, I chimed in at the end. I give my 2 cents. So it's all good.
I don't normally get like that on a show. I
kind of
had to get on the defensive there on that one. I'm like, it didn't make sense, but whatever. It is what it is.
For sure. Shout out to my guy Oscar. Thanks for pulling up, my guy with the Go Raiders. Hold on, I gotta do the right way. Raiders. Yep. For sure.
I want to do it on the field this year. Damn it! He better get healthy fast.
Yeah, We'll definitely go ahead and get into that in just a bit for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it,
So,
Sal. You got it.
yeah.
Swan and GT. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of content creators can be critical. I mean, there's times where I'm critical on
Hmm.
certain people as well, but at the end of the day, we want these guys to prove us wrong and to be better. And this is something where we definitely will go ahead and be crow about it. Because we want our team to succeed and we want these players to succeed. Because when they succeed, our team becomes better. That's just kind of how it goes. So sometimes it just the way it comes out might not be for everybody.
Yeah, Severe and I are cool. That was back when we were still in the talks about hiring Pete Carroll, and then I went on the show with them, and Severe and I had a little disagreement on it because of the age thing, and then the next day he got hired. So
there you go. Shout out to my guy Severe. Shout out to my guy Severe, for sure. No, he's super cool, but yeah,
yeah, I have no problem with him.
It's just how we've done it. I've done it. You've done it. We've been critical of certain people and certain players. It's just this is how.
So you and I haven't seen eye to eye on certain things.
Yeah, I mean, like people like coaches wise. Well, yes, us we haven't seen eye to eye, but that's different.
I got my weird outlandish takes, and you try and keep it real, and I just try and shoot from the hip, bang.
Yeah. It's different. We got banter. That's a brotherly banter that we do and stuff. But yeah, no, for sure. Let's see here. Make sure you guys go ahead and get your questions in. Really quick, I did put up a poll on my channel. Should the Raiders pick up who? Jaire Alexander, Germaine Pratt, or Jalen Ramsey? 50% for Jalen Ramsey, 38% for Germaine Pratt. It's only 12% for Jaire. 8 votes cast in. So make sure, if you haven't done so already, make sure you guys go in there and cast your vote. Let your voice be heard.
I just did it
on that. There you go. For sure. Let's see. My guy I remember when I mentioned Pete Carroll got yelled at. I believe it was low and gravy. Yeah, man. I mean, hey, but he's our coach now, and it is what it is, So I like what he said today in the media day, and shout out to everybody who watched media day. A lot of good stuff that came out of there. I like what a lot of people had to say. Ashton Genty, Max Crosby, Besh came out. Thornton's a guy definitely to go ahead and look out for sure. I like your picture, Jason. Great 805 picture. Great picture.
He's had me up there. He's had Jack Kenner up there.
Don't have me on
805 now.
You'll get YouTube will shut you down. Not by me. Why you have that ugly guy on there? Oh man. Yeah, let's see here. But yeah, let's go ahead and kind of shift back and really stay on that topic of defense. Just kind of the stay on the defense, right? So we talked about our guy Christian Wilkins, who's just on that the Raiders little clip. Obviously his injury is still up in the air, still questionable, still not really participating in OTAs, so we're in the boot, all that good stuff, right? Me and Ron talked about it on our Saturday show, Good Morning Raiders. If this guy can't get healthy by week 1, this might be a thing where he should possibly sit most of the year and really take care of that foot. What are your thoughts really on kind of the state of the defense, the trenches? Obviously we know that we need another coverage linebacker, beef up a little bit on the secondary. What are your thoughts right now on the state of our defense?
What's the injury with I must have missed that one. Holy cow. What was the injury with Butler?
No, with Wilkins. Butler's good.
No, but because somebody said in the chat about the injury with Butler.
As far as I know, I haven't heard anything from Butler.
I hope not, because then 805 is going to lose his goddamn mind if that's the case. I still feel confident in the defense, to be honest with you. I'm only going to get super worried if they start talking about possibly Wilkins getting another surgery. If he has to have another surgery, then he probably won't play this year. That's not going to be a good thing, you know. Again, we've already talked about tonight. We still need another linebacker, which is why I'm all for bringing in Pratt. And still, I mean, secondary is still a little, like a little cringeworthy, I guess you would say.
Right.
But with the front line, I'm still confident, even if Wilkins misses a couple of, a few games or something, But again, if they start talking possible surgery again because it's re-injured that bad, then that's not good. That's not good at all. I just want to see Kuntz come back strong like he was, the last few games when he actually played. Because if he comes back strong just as he was back then, and now you got Max on the other side, that means good things for Max, because that means he's not going to get double teamed all the time, more than likely.
Yeah.
Still, our big weakness right now is what are we doing with Tyree? That's do we move him inside the tackle?
Did you see the recent picture of Tyree?
No.
Oh man, that dude is yoked. He's yoked. He looks like a D tackle. So I don't know if that's something where they possibly shift him over. It would make sense here. Let me. I got it right here. There we go.
Yeah, Adeli's still in a boot.
That's Tyree. There you go. 2024.
How old is the picture on the left?
This is this is last year.
And the one on the right is now. The one on the right looks like it's AI generated. It doesn't even look like a legit, right? Like his face looks fake.
I don't know. Maybe it's the angle, but yeah,
the angle. And I don't. Is he allergic to something? Because it looks like he's swollen.
There you go. There's another picture.
That's last year.
This is from a few days ago, last week I think.
It does look bigger. It does look like put on some weight.
Yeah. So there you go.
And I'm
they
not
might line him up at D tackle.
either.
You can play D tackle, so you never know.
If that pitch is legit, the 2024 and 2025, I'm telling you, the one on 2025 looks like it's AI, and it looks like he's put his baby fat back on. He looks a little chunky there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because the other one that I showed is from June 4th, and but he has his helmet on. So,
what just I guess what kind of still gets me about Tyree is the fact that we're going into year 3, and people are still saying we need to see something from him this year. He's the number 7 overall pick from 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And we're still talking about we need to see something from him. I'm sorry. That can you imagine 2 years from now? We go into the 3rd training camp for Genty, and we still haven't seen anything from him. You think people are going to be like, "Oh, we're still waiting to see something from Genty this year"? Bullshit. We see something this year. You don't waste that type of pick. That means someone ain't doing their homework right. I'm sorry. I'm still pissed at that pick of taking Tyree back then.
Yeah,
definitely, it just hasn't panned out.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a put up or shut up type year for him. If he doesn't have a really solid year, to say the least, he's not here next year. No way, no way in hell. There has to be some, a good level of improvement now that for one, he has Patrick Graham back, he has Robbie Leonard back, and now he has Pete Carroll as well. There's no excuse now. There's no excuse. So there has to be a good level of improvement for him to really stay on the squad. If not, this might be a thing where he won't be here.
For the sake of the team and not adding another name to, first round busts that we've had through the years consistently, I want to see the kid make it, and I'm tired of these first round picks just not panning out, especially these high first round picks. You suck all season long. You got a top 10 pick, and then the guy you take is just garbage. You know, I'm tired of that shit.
Yep. Let's see here. There you go.
They should move him to tackle now, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Shout out to my guy 805 in the building.
What's up, 805?
He said he just saw Jason making his round with the country. Oh man, he just saw that. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, my guy Alec, we don't have any. We do have many options to fill in for Wilkins for a few games. Yeah, I mean, we went out and drafted JJ Piggies. We got Tonka Hemi, even though they're rookies, they're still there. You know, we got them in the 6th round.
But they're big bodies. They're big guys to plug the hole.
And they're athletic. They definitely have they have moves. So
especially Piggies, he's a big boy.
Oh yeah, for sure. We still got Lualu. We picked up that guy from New Zealand as well. So we'll see if he makes.
Yeah, they moved him to offense now.
Oh, did they?
You know this? Yeah, you're talking about Laffy Taffy. That's what I call him. You know, this came up last week in one of the shows. Somebody was, you know, like, oh, that's great. He's going to be on the offensive line now. Oh, slow down. All right. First of all, he doesn't count towards the 53-man roster because he's that international program. All right. They can move. We have the luxury of moving him around and letting him try different positions and see where he fits. You know, see what suits him best. So basically, he's a project anyway. You know, he's not on our roster right now. You know, so all right. So we had him on the defense. So they move him over to the offense, give him a shot at guard, see what happens. You never know. I mean, again, we've got that luxury with this guy right now. It doesn't count. Basically, he's not there, but he is. You know.
Yeah.
Move him around. Try him everywhere. I don't care. Try him at running back.
You know? Whatever works. Whatever works.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it might be a situation where they get bring in that big blocker for those goal line situations. He might be that guy, bro. I forgot who used to be that for us. This is the big dude. He would just line up for like the goal line situations, or he would be that eligible receiver. So it might be a situation like that, like number 77 is eligible. Oh man. Shout out to my guy Billy Davis.
For all we know, he might be a great run blocker.
Yeah,
you know, on offense. I mean, it's no different than a scrum, basically.
Yeah. Shout out to my guy Billy Davis. He said Wilson would be fine this season.
Billy with the faith. To go, Billy.
Keep the faith, bro.
He's always positive. I'll give him that.
I'm trying to be positive, but I am low key scared to see. Hopefully I'm wrong and he's good and he'll be good by training camp. But if he's not, that is definitely something to kind of worry about because our defense will probably take another step back. It's already taking a step back as it is at this moment. And if no Christian Wilkins for the season, that would be another step back for sure.
That'd be a huge blow to that defense.
Yep. Make sure you guys go ahead and get your questions in, guys, before we get out of here in a little while. Shout out to my guy, 805. I don't care what Tyree looks like. He better change his mindset and mentality. That's where he's lacking. Ain't nothing going to change for him until he fixes his mental game. Facts, bro. Facts. I think it is a lot with him. It's a mental thing, This guy has so many. This guy has more lives than a cat at this point. He had Max working with him, right? And I don't know what happened with that. And now he has Pete, he has PG back, he has Robbie Leonard. There's no more excuses for him. We can't keep as my guy Run says, we can't keep him on the Raiders scholarship anymore. We gotta part ways. So we'll see. I think he still makes the roster not because of skill, but because I think they're just pulling out hope for that guy. So we'll see what happens. Right. Yeah. Let's see. My guy Alex says a lot of people were scratching their heads about the Farrell pick. Yeah. Same thing for sure. Yeah. But let me kind of switch gears here. And I wanted to go ahead and bring this up and get your take on it. I talked about it on the Saturday show with Rundown and Power Raider. Shout out to my guy Raider Rundown and Power Raider. Thanks for my guy pulling up on Saturday to do that show with us. But I talked about the Tom Telesco interview, right? And we talked about it briefly just because of time constraints, and we needed to go ahead and kind of wrap up things. But I have you here. We got some good time. I wanted to go ahead and kind of get your take on it. I don't know if you heard it or not.
I haven't yet. No.
Okay. I don't know if some people in our chat that are watching have heard it yet, but I'm going to go ahead and pull this up and play this for you guys. And this is basically Tom Telesco being on the show. Mike Check, the 13. He did an interview, and they brought up the fact of last year's draft and why really he didn't go ahead and pursue a quarterback when we were really quarterback needed at that point too. So let me go ahead and play that for you.
Good question. I think we all want to know that.
Right. Here we go.
Last year, 2024, one of the wildest drafts, especially at the top. You are the general manager of the Raiders, picking at 13 with a quarterback need, and then 6 quarterbacks go in the top 12. There were a lot. So let's ask about the rumors again. There were rumors that Michael Penix Jr. may have been the pick had he been there, but the Falcons make the pick at 8. So first off, would Michael Penix Jr. have been the pick had he been on the clock at pick 13 for the Raiders?
Did a lot of work, talked a lot about it. But in the end, probably not. Probably not. Now looking back, if I knew that I only had 1 year there, maybe that would have been different. I don't know. But
wait, would it have been a different quarterback? Would it have been J.J. McCarthy or Bo Nix? Was there a quarterback that you would have taken at 13?
So that's a little bit different. I get in there. Let me just big picture wise. We're building this for the future, and thinking I'm going to be there at least for a little while. The head coach will be there for a little while. Our infrastructure wasn't where it needed to be yet. So we had some concerns. We take a quarterback this early and we have nothing around him. It could be a disaster. So the thought was we need to build the talent level of this team on both sides of the ball. So because we had taught like Jane Daniels, that one would have been easy, and that's an easy one. But then when we got into the J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix, as far as trading up for those guys, that I was not as much into trying to trade up for one of those quarterbacks to give up that many assets, because we're going to have to give up a lot of draft picks. We need as many as possible to build up the team. So that would have been a hard move to make, to trade up for one of those quarterbacks, knowing where our talent level was then, and then how we're going to get it better, because we're going to give up so many picks for that. So to me, that was, other than James Daniels, that was going to be a non-starter. Now, if they were there, again, with Michael Penix, and I've been wrong plenty of times, which I've been told. But he had some injury issues in college, just with some durability, and that's taking a quarterback that high, that has to be a concern. At this point, he hasn't had an issue, but he hasn't played a lot yet. But everything's healed up, and hopefully it's good to go. But that was a bit of a concern. Bo Nix, a little bit, his background of work, his durability, his movement skills, that one was interesting. And he's gone to the perfect team. That would have been a good possibility.
All right. So that was Tom Telesco on that podcast interview he did last week. So hearing that, Jeff, what are your thoughts, and what first thing comes to your mind, man?
He's not wrong about not having the infrastructure. He's absolutely right, because let's say the whole Jaden Daniels thing would have worked out. We would have given up our next probably 2 or 3 drafts to move up to the top spot and get him.
Mm-hmm.
Who are we gonna have with him? You know, who seriously, you know, yeah, Devontae was still here. You wouldn't have Bowers, you wouldn't have JPJ, you probably wouldn't have even had Glaze because we'd have to go a different route because we need to bring in skill around this kid. So I understand that part because there's nothing to improve around him. Well, I mean, that squashes the Penix thing. Everybody keeps saying that we should have taken. We were going to take Penix until Atlanta took him. Well, it doesn't look like we were gonna. You know, I honestly think that if Bo Nix was there, we probably would have taken Bo Nix based on what he's talking about. And I think Matt's right too. I mean, Tom got let go because he couldn't keep Jacobs in the building. You know, so I mean. I get what he's saying. It makes sense in a way. But again, we would have given up way too much to move up for any of these quarterbacks. The only one we wouldn't have had to move for was Bo. We just needed Denver to go a different route, but obviously they went quarterback. You know, it was only one pick before us, and they snagged them on us. It's like shit, you know.
Right.
But
yeah, and I know. Yeah, I know you're more conservative as far as with the draft capital. You're more about conservative draft capital, and I understand that part. I think
especially when it concerns you losing draft picks for 2 or 3 possible years of your first round too. That because we would have had to give up a lot to move up for Daniel. That was even an option. Oh yeah,
but looking at what a lot of teams saw, and I know that AP and a lot of people out there, including myself, because I was really big on Jaden. I knew his ceiling was very high, and look at that first year, he had a phenomenal rookie year, NFC Championship game. I don't think you can top that aside from a Super Bowl appearance, right? From a first year rookie that really got into a system, right? I think everything that kind of was set up for that, he's partially right in the sense where some of the infrastructure wasn't there, but guess who handles that infrastructure? He does. He didn't really prioritize that. His priority was not a quarterback. We went on and got Gardner Minshew a backup. You know, that goes to show you where his priorities were, right? Yeah. It was not a quarterback. And if you're on a let's compete now, let's win now mentality like we are in now, you're going to go out and try to give yourself the best shot to go ahead and do that. You know, we went on and got Geno, right, because we needed to fix that quarterback situation. It is not going to be AOC. That's why they went out and traded that third-round pick for Geno. They went on and got Ashton Genty because we needed to go ahead and fix the running game. So a lot of the pieces that needed to be fixed or needed to be addressed really weren't addressed by Telesco because he's the one at the helm. He's the one who, at the end of the day, has the power to go ahead and put this infrastructure in place because that's really the job of the GM is to put a competing team together for each season and the future moving forward. For him to think like, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of just do this little bit and just wait till next year and see what happens. It's like, okay, like how are we going to be competitive? You know, like especially him really not that goes to show you how out of touch he is with the fan base here. Is that we're a very critical fan base, and I think most sport teams have a very critical fan base, but I think we're the most critical. We'll definitely go ahead and be on you if you don't go ahead and put a really good product on the field, and that's why you hear all the shit talking that's happened from I think October from last year all the way up until now because it's still going on because we're so jaded of the type of season that we had last year because he didn't help us put a team together, you know, for whatever reason it may be, whether he procrastinated or whether he felt like I'm just going to put these pieces into place. Yes, Bowers is great. Awesome. You know, awesome pick that worked out. JPJ, another one. Glaze, another one. But other than those 3 guys, there really hasn't been nothing else, right? But also you could go on the counter side, like without those guys, we wouldn't be in the position that we are now. So it's kind of It's kind of vice versa. Kind of damn if you do, damn if you don't type of scenario, right?
I think the other thing that would have hindered us too is I don't think the coaching staff that we had here last year would have been the right fit for somebody like Daniels. Yeah, I know you could sit there and say, well, we would have probably had Lane Kiffin, but you don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was no guarantee that we were going to be able to pull him in, even if we were shooting to get Jaden Daniels. You know, so would you really want to bring in a rookie quarterback at his caliber with what we had for offensive coaches or just overall coaching staff that we had last year? I wouldn't be comfortable with it. I think we would probably get that kid destroyed. You know, I don't think it would have been a good fit with the system that we were running with the coach, the offensive coordinator we had here. I don't think it would have been a good fit. Not at all. I think you would have got him injured last year with this team, with the way we were playing and blocking. He would have been crushed back there. Probably would have been number one in overall sacks. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good possibility. You know,
right?
Should be and you know what? And that's how you kill a rookie's confidence. A kid as good as he is, that's how you kill a young player's confidence. Is when he goes to a bad situation, like a bad team overall. Like look at all the years that Cleveland's had quarterbacks. You know, some of these shit bum teams, and they always go for the number one quarterback or the top ones, and you know their confidence gets shot because the team's not building right. You know, they bring the quarterback in, but if you don't have the pieces around him, you're screwed. You know, would Devontae have stayed if it would have been Jaden Daniels here last year? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. He might have still been the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I don't think he would have been a good fit here, to be honest with you. Would have been nice to have him because our quarterback problem would probably be solved. But would he have survived the year? I don't know.
And again, this goes back to Telesco not really putting that team together. You know, it's not going out
it falls on him without a doubt.
Yeah, 100%. Where he didn't go out and get, you know, if Kingsbury didn't work out, let's go ahead and get the next best guy, right? We even had Chip Kelly literally interview for. I think he interviewed for the position last year for us, and for whatever reason that didn't work out. It literally took Pete Carroll to have like a brief one day interview, and then like, all right, cool, we're bringing you in, you know, that type of scenario. Which his heart was set on the Raiders. We could have had Chip last year, we didn't. Yep. We could have had somebody else last year. We did it. We went on and got Luke Getsy, which he had a terrible year with the Bears, to try to kind of band-aid this season together and make it kind of work, right? And that's kind of how everything unfolded. A lot of the stuff, what I saw, and this is just my opinion from my point of view, is that a lot of the stuff was kind of band-aid together. And that's kind of was the story of the season, right? You were saying, you know, he probably would have got pulverized if he was our you know, Daniels would have got pulverized. He was our quarterback with this line. It's almost the same line that we had last year, right? In a sense, aside from literally Kappa, JPJ, and Glaze, right? Who else? Who else aside from the guys that we drafted? Everybody's still really here. We let go of Andre James, but everybody's really still here. It's the coaches and the personnel that we changed. I mean, the coaches that we really changed, right? And it's all about that. So a lot of the priorities is kind of misshaped. Is what I'm kind of trying to.
And he would have had to run a lot more, which then opens him up to, you know, increases his percentage to even get injured more too. And that's the last thing you want. You know, he's out there running for his life, trying to get a first down, and somebody hits him just the right way, and you know, now you lost him for the year, maybe even more, depending on how bad the injury is. You know, these athletic quarterbacks, second they take off running, their percentage for injuries goes through the roof. Plain and simple. You know, that's why a quarterback can't run the ball constantly, because you're waiting for the moment to happen, because it's gonna happen.
Right.
You know? Oh, that line they would have got across.
Yeah, that's why really Tom got fired paying for Booger. Yeah, shout out to my guy Rock right here. Yeah, and I think that's part of it for sure. Okay, going out and getting Gardner Minshew really was not a starting caliber. Yeah, he played good for Indy, but that's a totally different team, totally different system they were running. That worked.
They had a running game. That's why
running game too.
That's why he had success when he was there. That's why he looked good.
Yeah,
And that's what I think people were under the misconception that we were going to get the Minshew that stepped in Indy when Richardson went down. Well, two totally different teams. They had an offensive line that could block, and you had a running game. We had neither, and that's right. Once JPJ got in there, it was a little bit better. But at that point, it was already how many games into the season? If Daniels was going to be here and starting from day one, JPJ wouldn't have been out there from the start.
Right.
So,
yeah. And so
you wouldn't have had a bodyguard out there.
Yeah. My guy Matt says, Getsu was brought in because of the history with Tay, but he was never a full OC before. That screwed us last year. Shout out to my guy, Matt Marinovich.
Yeah, Matt's awesome, man.
That is true. And it was trying to appease Devontae and see how that turned out. At the end, Devontae left and then Getsu's not here either way. Right. Yep. And there was a lot of trying to appease these players. Same thing with Max. It was trying to appease Max. I love Max. That's my guy. But at the end of the day, you got to do with whatever is the right thing for the team, not for the individual necessarily. So, Getsy. I never liked that Getsy hire. I was kind of against it. I swallowed the pill because what else are you supposed to do? But you saw
we can't sway their decision. We can do all the podcasts and shit we want to do on YouTube. It ain't gonna change anything.
I mean, it did at the end. It did change something. We did apply the pressure, right? I mean, we gotta get to a lot of people we had it with the simple play calling, which a third grader can go ahead and do on Madden, right? So it just kind of boiled down to that. But yeah, Getsu wasn't it for sure. My guy SoCal South says Minshew played scared out there. He looked like he did, and they would pan. I don't know if you guys remember. They would pan to him a lot. You see that scared, far away face on him all the time, and it's just because he had no confidence. He just was literally rush out of the pocket every single play. It was crazy. So. Yeah,
he had the oh shit eyes and the deer in the headlight eyes, like, oh,
like, damn, I'm gonna get fucking popped again. Like, I really don't want to be here at this moment, right? That's the type of look he had, and I mean, I don't blame him. It's hard, right? Especially not having proper protection, set up. It's hard. What can you really do? So I definitely feel that for sure. Let's see. A shout out to our guy Detroit God in the building. What to do? See, Rock says QB after I saw a hit is how to judge their value. If you ask me, yeah, bro. The thing is, like, he would get sacked constantly. Same thing with O'Connell. O'Connell did better on that department, but it was just the blocking scheme was just not good last year. No, it wasn't. No. It wasn't until literally Philbin came in, and
that's when it changed.
Over. Yeah.
Yep. That's Philbin exactly took over. When it started to change.
Yeah, Philbin took over, and then the Turners really took the reins of the operation. We didn't see too much progress, but we did see an improvement, and that's what we wanted to see. So there was hope, and we knew that because the blocking did get better. It was just the offense that still kind of struggled to get like a running game going and just passes off and all that. So,
anybody that's in my chat right now that hasn't already, make sure you get over to my guy here, and get over to his channel, Just Rate His Baby Podcast. Make sure you guys hit that sub, the notification, and the thumbs up on this.
Yeah,
make sure you guys get over there and help a brother out here too.
Yeah, make sure you guys go ahead and tap in, hit that subscribe button, click those thumbs on both channels. It does go a long way to go ahead and support the show, and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. What are you waiting for? Just go ahead and click those buttons, turn on notifications. Like when news drops, if somebody were to get signed, we're going to go on. We're going to talk about it. So make sure you don't get left out in the dark and say, "Hey, what happened?" Hit that notification. I got your like and subscribe, but it's the old one. See?
Yeah, that's the old one.
That's the old one. I gotta update that. But make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe for sure. But yeah, I wanted to go ahead and kind of get your take on that Tom Telesco thing because once I heard it, I was just kind of like, what? And it just goes to show like where his priority was for last year, and it was not at quarterback. It wasn't really too much on our offense per se. We really didn't have any big name signings aside from like Christian Wilkins. We picked up Chase on waivers, I believe, and that was like during season. But other than that was essentially it.
It
So
wasn't
we didn't
even
make
doing his job as a true GM. There was no wheeling and dealing. I mean, there was no movement in the draft. You look at what we did in this past draft. Between Pete Carroll and Spytech, they did what they were supposed to do. They moved around the draft board because Pete Carroll and the scouts had, obviously given Spytech a list of these are the guys we really want to get. These are the positions we're looking to fill. Do your magic, move us around the board to get us these guys.
right.
There's no two ways about it. That wasn't the meetings they had prior to the draft the year before. Telesco went in there with the guys that he wanted. I'm sure AP might have given him names as to who he wanted and everything, but we didn't do a goddamn thing. We didn't do anything in free agency. We didn't re-sign anybody that we should have during the season when you had the opportunity. We should not be going into the offseason with 26 or 27 free agents that we have to worry about, because all you're doing now is you're putting more pressure on the next season. We should have had some of those contracts decided during the season. So you take a little bit of time during the season. You should have Spillane should have still been here. We should have signed him during the season. He should have been priority number one. Plain and simple. We never should have lost him. If you do it during the season, you got a better chance to keep him at lesser money than what he had gotten. If he didn't want to, maybe they did try talking to him, but you never heard anybody say anything. There was nothing, because usually that shit leaks that, hey, they're looking to renegotiate during the season, so he stays here. But nobody said anything about, oh no, they stopped the talks or whatever. You didn't hear shit, which means they didn't do shit. So technically, Telesco really didn't do his job. I'm sorry.
No. He talked about
people can argue with me all they want, but that's my feeling on that.
Yeah, he talked about not having certain players, not having certain infrastructure. I mean, he could have kept Josh Jacobs. He could have.
Yeah, he could have.
He literally, Josh was willing to go ahead and kind of bend over and just like, hey, just so long as it's fair, so long as it makes sense, just don't take advantage, don't take that much advantage of me. And it was still no. And look, because I don't know whether it was because they had that much faith in Zamir White, which literally turned out to be a bust right there. We saw for what he is now. He doesn't have the vision to really be that real running back one. At this point, he's probably running back 4. If it was up to me, I don't even think he's gonna make. I don't even think he's gonna make the squad. I'm gonna just go out. Go out there. I've said it before. I don't think he's gonna make the squad. I don't think he's gonna. If there's anybody in the bubble, it's gonna be Zamir White. I don't think he comes back this year. Right at this point, he's still there, but there's still training camp, and I don't think he gets out of training camp alive. So
just going back to the Jacobs thing, I think he was under the understanding that he was gonna, by letting Jacobs walk. Unfortunately, we got nothing for him, which was the only thing we got was the salary cap back. And I think that's what he was probably looking at is like, hey, I'm saving this kind of money because we've got Zamir, who's going to be our main guy. So I'm going to look like a genius because we're going to save money by letting Jacobs go. But then you turn around and spend even more money for a guy like Minshew. That's where he fucked up right there. Mm-hmm. The second he signed Minshew for more money than what Jacobs was willing to take to stay here is where he screwed up. Because if we would have had a legit running back in the backfield like Jacobs, it would have been a different year last year. We didn't have to have a superstar offensive line because he could make holes, he could make plays. Zamir couldn't. Zamir couldn't get out of his own goddamn way. He couldn't even get out of the way of the ass of the offensive lineman because he just ran straight into him. So So that's where he screwed up. That was his biggest downfall right there, was not keeping Jacobs, a guy that wanted to be here. That's the worst part.
Yeah, he did want to go ahead and.
You got a guy that's standing in front of you saying, "I want to stay here," and you're going, "Fuck you, you're out of here. See you later. We're not keeping you."
Yeah,
exactly. Fans hated him.
Yeah. My guy Detroit says the front office and the coaching staff let this team down. If they could have put the right coaching staff and offense coordinators around these players to begin with. Shout out to Detroit God. Yeah, I mean, I agree, bro. The front office kind of dropped the ball severely last year, for sure.
It's almost like we had replacements playing for the team most of the year last year.
Yeah, I mean,
when you look back on it now, compared to what we got
guys off the street. We were picking guys off the street. That's literally what it boiled down to. We were so injured, we needed bodies that we had to get guys from the street to come.
I was waiting for 805 to come on one of his shows saying, "I drove by the practice facility. They're going to sign on the front gate that says open tryouts. Anybody's welcome." Shit, I'd fly out to Vegas. You need an offensive lineman, I'll give it a shot at 55 years old. What the hell? It'd probably be better than Parham anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But kind of, looking towards, from last season to this season, how much of an improvement will the offense have this season moving forward? We went out and got Genty, picked up Bash, Dante Thornton. Went out and we were there. We did our draft show together for the second day. Got Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant. We don't know what's going to be with Charles Grant, but
so happy.
we got more guys and we got more guys in O-line. How much of an improvement do you see this offense really?
I think compared to last year, it's like night and day. If you ask me, I think night and day. Quarterback position alone, you brought in a running back that should be able to do better than 2.3 yards per carry. That should be a no-brainer. You're going to have a second year now with Brock Bowers. It's going to have more experience. You're going to have a totally different playbook this year that's going to get him the ball. Your offensive line, you got JPJ coming back for his second year, Glaze coming back for his second year. Miller looks like he's over his injury issue. Big questions now are just who's playing at guard for both sides.
Right.
You obviously upgraded the wide receiver room. There's no two ways about it. You brought in two rookies that are going to get it done for you, and even what's his name, touchdown Tommy there. You converting him over. He's going to be like a special weapon. He's going to be like a secret weapon out there. You're going to be able to run these weird trick plays that you're going to be able to sneak in every now and then. With somebody of his speed. I think the offense is vastly improved compared to last year, and you got real head coach, and real offensive coordinator. Compared to what we had last year, right. I think it's going to be a big difference.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I'm even go out to say that the defense takes a step back this year. Is going to be more offense where it's really going to be the highlight, right? Like I said, we went out and literally got Geno Smith, right? Probably top 15 quarterback, hands down. And then we went out and got literally the best running back in the draft, generational type running back. And even he says that even he says he's going to go ahead and get 1,500 yard rushing, just rushing alone. This is not even counting passing, right? So, and that's something that me and Rundown been saying for months, that if he's as advertised, if he's that generational, then we need to see like 1,500 yards per season from this guy, right?
Oh hell yeah,
yeah. So, and then you went out and got Jack Bash, which is another dependable player. I think he had like 0.10 drop rate, which was just microscopic. And then you went out and got Dante Thornton. And Dante Thornton, I wanted to go ahead and touch on this. Dante Thornton has been standing out in OTAs. I don't know if you heard, but he's actually really been shining the last couple of weeks. One of the questions that a lot of people had was, questions in regards to his hands, questions in regards to his route running, his route tree. I think those questions are starting to be finally answered. That he does have a route tree. I think it was just a situation he was in Tennessee with the Volunteers that they just had him run one specific route, and that was just the go route, and that's it, right? But it's looking like he actually has some things in his repertoire. He has some good footwork. His hands are actually better than what it was previously advertised. So really, Jonathan Thornton's coming out and might be possibly the next weapon for us. What do you think about Jonathan Thornton?
Well, I like the kid. I like the draft pick when we made it, and I think the nice thing about him is it gives us something we haven't had in a while, and that's height and speed. He's given us the speed and he's given us the height. Whereas you look at our receivers last year, they were all basically midgets.
Right.
They all came right off the set from Wizard of Oz. They were all munchkins. They were tiny compared to they're going up against cornerbacks that are over 6 feet tall. These guys were what, 5'9", 5'10", shorter than me. I'm 6 even. He's going to have the ability to hopefully rip the top off of this, and really stretch the field. And, it's going to be a little bit of that old school Raider where it's like we can throw the ball deep and really test the secondary, keep the defense honest so they're not stacking the box and daring us to throw and to try and stuff, Genty. It's like you got to respect the pass this year because you got a quarterback that can sling the ball and you got guys that can catch it, And with everybody out there on the field on the receiving side, you're not going to be able to double team Brock Bowers because go ahead, you can double team him. You can do what you want. You want to put your best secondary guy on him and cover him? That's fine because guess what? We're going to hit you with some Betch. We're going to hit you with some Thornton. And then we might throw a little bit of touchdown Tommy in there too, who's going to blow right by you like you're standing still. So we got speed and we got size.
Yeah, and that's not even including.
Yeah,
it's not even including Genty, who
exactly.
Also catch the ball and they'll be off to the races. Got Michael Mayer too. We forgot about our boy Michael Mayer. Definitely can go ahead and block, catch. He's a big boy. He's going to be back for this season. He's looking better than ever. I saw him earlier on the media day. He's looking good. He feels good. He sounded really good when he was talking. So, I expect another good year from him. Obviously, it's not going to be Brock Bowers type year, but we don't need him to do all that. We need him to block and we need him to catch and make plays and get yards after carries. That's really what we need him to go ahead and do. But having so many weapons in this offense now, which is literally not the case that we had last year, we finally have a run game with Genty and Mozart. You still have Sincere McCormick. I think he's probably gonna, scrape by on the roster. I don't think Zamir White's gonna make it. So
McCormick just has to stay healthy.
Yes, McCormick has to stay healthy. But honestly, even if this year he's gonna be he's a third back at this point. He's really gonna be utilized for certain situations where either he needs to come in from an injury or just rotational or whatever, right? I think that's going to be his role in it, right? But it's going to be really heavy Genty oriented for sure. So having all those weapons.
Yeah, well, two things I see on the offense. Number one, we're not going to be one dimensional. We're going to be multifaceted offense here. Big word, I know. We're going to be multifaceted. We've got many levels that we can come at you. So this is going to be, multi-dimensional offense. And I think the one thing people need to set their expectations. I could be wrong, but I don't expect Brock Bowers to have the same kick-ass numbers he had last year because there wasn't many people to pass the ball around to. This year's going to be a little bit different. You got a running game potentially. Let's see how that starts off. You're going to have a potential running game. And you're going to have other receivers that are going to catch the ball.
Right.
Could he still get 1,000 yards? Yeah, that's possible. I don't think you're going to see him get 115 plus catches this year. If he's in the 80 to 90 range, that's awesome. But I don't think you're going to. You know what I want to see? I want to see in that 8 to 10 touchdown range as a red zone threat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I want to see. That's where you're going to get the value from Brock Bowers this year, is those red zone conversions for touchdowns, because that's what you need to use your tight end for. A big body tight end gets in there in between, gets you those touchdowns.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. We're
and
talking
that's
about
what
the
we
20,
couldn't do last year because we couldn't get in the red zone was the problem.
right? And this year
You know?
should not be that case where
No.
literally we have like the best running back in almost in the league, you could say, right? We have the best tight end in the league for sure. So having that 1-2 combination itself is good. We're not even talking about everybody else. We haven't even talked about Geno. You still have Geno. Geno can make plays
right?
on his feet. Geno's accurate. You know, we've heard a lot of good things. I've heard a lot of good things coming out of camp from having Geno there. Stability was one of the
We haven't even
words
talked about Jacoby yet either. We've been talking
Yeah.
the rookies more than anything.
Yeah,
So you put
Yes.
Jacoby into the mix there too.
exactly.
You know, I'm
guy
going to
who-
go out on a limb right now.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say I think we might have the best offense right now on paper. And let's see what happens starting week 1. I think we might have the best offense in the AFC West right now.
Right. And
I think there's a good
they're gonna-
possibility.
it's going to be definitely tested first week coming out of the gate with the Patriots over there by your house.
Fuck the Patriots. We're going to destroy them.
All right,
Bet up
but
because I'm going to be there.
you got all of our old defense. It's literally our old defense versus our new defense. You know, it's going to be an interesting matchup. How they're really going to go ahead and try to defend us. But now you have so many weapons. Literally, it's a whole new look to our offense.
Yep.
But you got Geno, who's accurate, who can go ahead and make plays on his feet. You know that if you give him an inch, you give him an opening, you know, he's off to the races himself. So, you know, very interesting to see how this offense is really going to look come that week 1. I'm very excited to go ahead and see really that taking effect. Shout out to my guy Joseph. Raiders already look like a whole new organization. Finally, a good organization building a really solid roster. Shout out to my guy Joseph with that comment. Appreciate you, my guy. Let's see here.
And the other thing too is, if something happens to Geno, I have all the confidence in the world that O'Connell's going to come in and do fine for us. I'm not worried about that, because basically with the offense we have, I think you're going to see him better protected this year. The fact that he's got a running game, you could see a totally different guy back there if he has to come in and play. He's going to be one of the better backups in this league, without a doubt, talent-wise. You know, and then you got weapons around him now. He hasn't had weapons like this since he's been here.
Oh yeah,
You know?
exactly.
That's another thing. You could see a whole different side of him this year. I'm not saying he's going to be the starter. I only say that just to get people worked up on my live sometimes, just because it's fun. You know, I'm a reverse troll. I'm a troll on the screen, not in the chat. You know, but I have all the confidence in the world with him as a backup. I really do. You have to.
Yeah.
Anybody that doesn't have confidence in your backup, then why? I mean, come on. You know, I mean, we're not talking about some, you know, shit bum quarterback here. I mean, the kid's a good quarterback. You know.
Oh yeah.
There's teams out there that could take him.
He's a solid backup, and you know, either way, I think this offensive line is going to be better from what it was last year. Obviously, getting Colton back. You know, we have a battle right now, obviously in the guard position, so it's going to be interesting to see who lands left and right guard, right? And then we got Glaze at right tackle, which most likely probably win that position. JPJ should win that position easily at center. Let me ask you, since we're on that talk, and you know, having been a former lineman yourself, who do you think wins those battles for left and right guard, or who would you like to see?
Just for the veteran presence, and I know the guy can play. He just had a really bad year last year. I hope Kappa. I know I call him Kappa the Crapper, but Kappa. Parham, I don't want anywhere near the starting. The only time I want to see Parham out there is if he has to come in and play center, because I think that's the only position he should be allowed to touch on that offensive line.
Right.
I'm willing to bet right now it's probably going to be Meredith.
Mhm.
I think so.
So
These two
Meredith.
rookies need a little bit more time first, but I don't think they're going to be far removed from possibly making it as a rotational at some point during the season.
Mhm. I think
Yeah, in there for one of
Rogers.
those two.
I think Rogers will be definitely in contention for one of those guard positions for sure. I think it's between Meredith, Kappa, and Rogers right now. Right. Charles Grant, he needs more time. I don't think we'll see anything from him realistically until
An odd
2026.
six.
You know.
This fucking guy. I believe AOC is the next Josh Allen. He's going to rewrite every record book for the Regents and Death Star.
That's a word on the street, bro. Apparently, right? That's a word on the street. I saw that.
I know
was like,
people.
okay.
They talk. I know people.
I know people in the building. I have people in the building. Okay. Cool. Oh man. Let's see here. Go ahead and get your questions in, guys, before we go ahead and get up out of here. We'll go ahead and wrap it up shortly. Yep. Bauer is a man in the red zone for sure. These wide receivers, Gino better have the highest completion rate and fix his fucking interception problem. Facts, bro. I think it's different. You're gonna have a better O line. This O line is gonna be better than what he had in Seattle. So you're gonna see an
Yeah, you can't sit there and say he's got better weapons. I mean, Jesus Christ, look what we had last year in Seattle. So I mean,
yeah.
For experience wise, his weapons were better when he was in Seattle, just out of the years of those wide receivers and the running backs already. Here he's coming here. He's got 2 rookie wide receivers and a rookie running back. The one thing he's got in his favor is he's got a tight end that can play lights out, and he's got Jacoby Myers as a safety valve too.
Right.
But I think
money even though that
too about always in more places creates better matchups. Definitely.
Yeah. Even though the rookie is the running back is a rookie, this is no regular rookie running back. This is
no.
The considered number 6 pick, generational best running back out of the draft class, in Ashton Genty. So I think it's still a step up from probably what he had in Seattle. He had DK Metcalf. I think it's far none that's one of the best wide receivers out there. But he takes a little step back in that part. But now he has, instead of having 1 Metcalf, he has like 4 Lockets in a sense, right?
I saw people bitching about that the other day. I forgot what show I was watching. It was online. It was a YouTube show. Nobody that we do shows with. I just popped on somewhere and was just watching it, and they were talking about why we should have gotten Lockett, blah blah blah. Why didn't we bring him over here? And you got to think about it. At the time, it would have cost us more money. So instead, instead of going the route of grabbing Lockett and bringing him in here, you went with 2 rookies that got more upside because they're rookies. They're young. They're coming
young,
in on rookie contracts.
Talented.
Yeah, extremely talented, fast. I'm willing to bet they're probably Thornton's got to be faster than Lockett. I'm sure at this point. Lockett's
yeah, I mean
32. So Lockett's already over that 31 age, so he's already up there in age. So why would we go and saddle ourselves with an older wide receiver when we can get 2 young studs that are going to come in here and from day one, excel.
Yeah.
And we had the benefit this year of having early mini camps because we had a new head coach. So we were able to get shit done faster. And all of that, we would have had to wait if we didn't have a new head coach.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to our guy in Detroit. He says, we're going to go beat the hell out of the Patriots, and then we're going to go eat some lobster. There you go, Jeff. Now it sounds like from Bob's. Oh, Money check. Are new weapons on
Yeah,
offense can
that's
be
the
like
comment.
kind of line barriers more places. Create. Yep, exactly. You can't cover everybody. You know,
No.
somebody's definitely gonna get open. You know, there's too much talent. There's too much speed.
If you
So,
come out with a spread offense, who the hell are you going to double? Who are you doubling?
Nobody. Yep. Nope.
Good
That's
luck.
That's why Gino came out like you can. If you play us man, you're getting cooked. Yep, rightfully so. We're gonna cover. You know, you can get beat either downfield or in the middle. You know, for sure.
Even if you go empty backfield. Even if you go empty backfield and you put them all out on the line. I mean, come on. What the hell are you doubling up on? You can't. It's impossible. It's like double up on one. We'll kill you. We'll burn you with the singles coverage on the other side.
Yeah. See. Yeah. Our guy Alex says, "Yep,
that's the one.
Snag a starting spot." Yeah, for sure. He's out to.
If it's not from the start of the season, I wouldn't be surprised if midway through the season he's grown enough to where it's time to give him a shot.
Mm-hmm. Third round pick for sure. You got to.
Yep.
If not, he's not starting. He's rotational piece. 100%. 100%. Let's see. Shout out to my guy, We the People. Salute to you, brother. My guy Rocky. I guess he's not on the Geno train. But there you go. We'll see what happens. You know. I hope that you're wrong. I hope that you're wrong, Rock. No offense, you know, but you know, I hope that Gino really does work out for us for sure. Man, we went on and paid a hefty price for that dude. So yeah, I think this is much improved offense from last year. You know, almost 9 a day for sure. Almost 9 a day, I think. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think other than that, I think that's pretty much it. You know, I want to go ahead and thank my guy Jeff for pulling up on the show. It's been too long, man. We had to go ahead and do it live together. You know, the Radio Connection. Taking a little break for the moment. We might be back on Wednesday. We'll kind of figure out. We might have to kind of go ahead and might have to, you know, run it back again on Wednesday. Just me and you and represent the connection. If Leo's not available.
Leo said he wanted to be back this Wednesday, so we'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
Because I know Nate's not going to make it.
So. Yeah, our guy Nate, his birthday is later this week. Shout out to Nate. Happy birthday. Happy early birthday. Make sure you guys give our guy some love. Wish him a happy birthday on his channel. Give him a subscribe for sure. We always appreciate our guy, and he comes with good takes as well. So hopefully we'll get back with him the following week. And he enjoys his birthday for sure. So
I don't know what I'm going to do Thursday night for the Raiders Coast to Coast. I'm not sure yet because he won't be around Thursday night either. So
yep. I need a special guest, man. It might be type of those scenarios. But yeah, I know we had to run it back, man. I had to bring you in. We had to do it. It was a good day to chop it up and talk some Raider football and talk some possibilities on who we can bring in and how our team's looking for this coming up season. I know you're going to be at the Patriot game on week 1.
I'm trying. I got to get a ticket yet. I'm trying to figure out where I can get it the cheapest.
Bro, you're
with decent seats.
Say less. Same thing. Working on a shoestring budget. You know, I'm gonna be at the preseason game versus the Cardinals. So I think the last week of August.
It's down there. Right? It's in Arizona.
Yeah, it's in Phoenix. It's in Phoenix. So me and the fam will be down here. If you guys, anybody's going, let me know. Hit me up. Link up. Chop it up and whatnot. But I am going to be at the home opener on week 2. That's going to be a fire game. A lot of people are going. I know. I think Severe's going. I think Chris Protect the Shield Run is going to possibly see a ball, possibly going to that one. I think Leo is working on that one too. So quite a bit of people going to that one. So I already got the ticket locked in. I'll be at that game for sure. And I think I'm gonna try to most likely I'm probably gonna go to the Jacksonville game, the Jaguar game in Vegas. And that's on my birthday weekend. So we'll be there. I'll be there for sure. And it's, yeah, man, I know. Got it. I'm good with the bleeds, man. I don't shy away from that for sure. So
I'm fine with that too. It's just trying to figure out where where I'm going to get it from the cheapest, because I don't want to spend a lot of money. Because even the nosebleeds in New England are like close to 300 still. It's like,
oh wow,
damn it. Yeah,
damn, that's crazy.
That's why I wish they never would have fired Mayo, because I think if it would have been the old regime, the ticket prices would have probably gone down again.
Yeah.
Well, once they announced Vrabel, that's it. Price stayed right where they were and even went up a bit. It's like, God damn it.
Shout out to my guy Desert Raider. All right, cool, man.
Yeah,
bro. Let me know.
Have hope again, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thank you for having me on. Though. This was fun tonight. You know what? I forgot what it's like to just come in and be a guest on a show and not have to control the chat and all that. And I can just sit here and
I got a little bit behind on the chat, not too far behind, and I try to.
It's so much fun.
Up. Yeah, I know. Like Saturdays is cool because me and Run split the duties, so I'm working the topics, he's working the chat, and we just kind of go from there. But it's all me tonight, so I'm just like having to do both. But we got it done for sure, man. But yeah, always a pleasure, man. Thank you for pulling up. We'll see if we can go ahead and make it happen on Wednesday too. Yes, sir. And we gotta definitely go ahead and run it back again for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, again, appreciate everyone pulled up. If you guys haven't done so already, if you're not subscribed, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button on both channels. On mine, Just Raiders Baby. On Jeff's, it's 401 Raider Jeff, right?
Yep. Yeah, I just put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat. So make sure you guys go ahead and give a subscribe. Turn on notifications. That's the biggest thing once we go on. Once news happens, we go on. So you don't want to be left out in the dark. Make sure you guys go ahead and turn on notifications for that. Also, too, I am going to be doing a shirt giveaway for my members. I have this one, the Raider Nation one. I also have my show shirt, Just Raiders Baby. Once we get to 10 members, I am going to be doing a raffle live on the show. So I'm at 6 right now. So just need a few more. I think I need 4 more. And we'll go ahead and get that raffle going. And everybody else who does become a member will also be included into that raffle. So make sure you guys go ahead and tap in. It does go ahead and really help support the show and really keep the lights on over here, becoming a member as well. So I have the link pinned down below on the chat, and I also just popped it in as well for anybody on their phone. You guys can just click in and go ahead and join. But yeah, other than that, appreciate everyone pulling up. I will see you guys later this week. If we don't see you on Wednesday, I will definitely see you guys on Saturday for another episode, another installment of Good Morning Raiders with my guy, the Raider Rundown. This week, we do have another guest. Bringing fire guests every week. We have none other than Afakasi Raider AR will be in the building, chopping up all the way from Perth, Australia. It'll be a good one. We have a lot to go ahead and chop it up, especially now. We have questions on who might be possibly coming on board and possibly becoming a Raider. So they'll be in the building. So make sure you guys go ahead and tap in for that for sure on Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific here on Just Raiders Baby. So make sure you guys go ahead and tap in. But appreciate you guys pulling up. We'll see you guys next time. Always remember, Just Raiders Baby. Peace.
Peace. Later.
Allegiant Stadium for the first time this year.